Australia's ability to take advantage of the next resources boom is about to be put to the test. The Queensland Government says it can make its extensive coal haulage system more efficient by selling it in a $3 billion public float later this year. But coal companies say the government has got it all wrong. They argue that selling both the rail tracks and trains as one package will stifle competition and restrict future investment. And Federal Resources Minister Martin Ferguson agrees, describing the proposed sale as a potential disaster. Peter McCutcheon reports from Brisbane.
It's a remarkable piece of government-owned infrastructure. More than 2,000 kilometres of railway tracks hauling half of the entire world's trade in coking coal. And it's all up for sale.
This is about preparing for the future. It's about having the incentive and the capacity to grow into the future.
Queensland, not for sale! Rail, not for sale!
Fearing job losses, railway unions have been fighting a long battle against the privatisation of Queensland Rail's coal haulage operations. But more recently, coal companies have spoken out, not against privatisation itself, but about the way the Queensland Government is going about it.
We do believe that the model that's been chosen is bad public policy.
And coal companies have an important ally in Federal Resources Minister Martin Ferguson.
The Queensland model, in my opinion, is a recipe for disaster.
I think that in many ways this debate is a bit 1990s old-fashioned.
Queensland Rail is a public sector giant with assets throughout Australia. 4 years ago, it launched a $1 billion expansion into commercial freight operations in New South Wales, Western Australia and South Australia, prompting questions about its future. Are you setting up QR to be privatised?
No. This is about competition. It's about ensuring we protect QR at home and we get competition nationally.
But with a new Premier, Anna Bligh, and an election victory, privatisation is on the agenda. Why the abrupt change in policy?
Well, what you see at the moment is the second phase of a resources boom.
The Queensland Government's chief salesman is Treasurer Andrew Fraser.
What you need here is a QR that is fit for the fight, fit to grow, fit to expand, and that means that we need to get it into the game with that ability.
Coal companies agree with the general sentiment, but not with the details.
Given this is a once in a lifetime, probably once in a century opportunity, it seems very, very important for a very large industry like this and a large exporter to get it right.
Chairman of Citigroup Australia and former New South Wales Premier Nick Greiner has been hired by Queensland coal companies to negotiate a different privatisation package. At the moment, the Queensland Government is proposing to sell both the coal haulage railway tracks and its Australian-wide rolling stock as one large integrated business in a public float at the end of this year. But coal companies fear this new transport giant will have near-monopoly powers, with little incentive to invest in new infrastructure.
We think it will restrict the amount of coal over time that gets mined and goes through the port in Queensland.
So coal companies have asked if they can just buy the railway tracks without the rolling stock and general freight business.
What we want is a fair go in terms of being able to submit an alternative offer. And that's sort of banking 101, it's auction 101. If you've got a house to sell, you try and get more than one person to buy so you get the best price.
The Queensland Government says it's not interested.
If you own the rail business on top, the on-track business, then you're also incentivised to grow the track, because that's the way you grow your on-track business as well.
In fact, the Queensland Treasurer has even questioned whether coal companies are genuine. You previously described this proposed bid as a publicity stunt. Are you going to take it seriously?
Well, there is no bid that's been provided.
Do you believe it is a publicity stunt?
I'll wait and see whether a bid's provided. I'm not sure that there will be.
Oh, the Queensland Treasurer, with great respect, is making it up. He's blowing wind. He must think that people have got nothing better to do. There really is trivial, and I've been trying to avoid getting into a slanging match with a Treasurer whom I've never met. But frankly, he doesn't do himself any good by trying to make it a political bun fight.
But it is becoming increasingly political, with Federal Resources Minister Martin Ferguson buying into the debate.
I think the coal company should put a bid on the table, and I think the bid could be proven over time to represent a better return to the Queensland budget. But perhaps more importantly, if we don't get this right, we will hold back exports, which will undermine royalty receipts for the Queensland government.
The efficiency of Australia's rail haulage of coal and iron ore could well determine the size of the next resources boom. So the pressure is on the Queensland government to get QR's privatisation right.
And I simply say time's not on our side. I am not confident that the Queensland government's proposal will deliver the necessary investment.
We've landed on this as the best for QRNational, its workforce and the Queensland economy, and make no mistake about it, this transaction will proceed as structured.
Peter McCutcheon with that report, and that's the program for tonight. Join us at the same time tomorrow, but for now, good night.